Do you feel like clearing up your farm to make space for buildings is such a chore? Well, in Ova Magica, you don't need to worry about that. You can use your workbench to move the trees, rocks, and other items, so it's super easy to arrange your farm even if there are some boulders that you can't get rid of yet. I'm Myrabels, and in this video, I will talk about 28 tips and tricks to help you on your Ova Magica playthrough. Keep in mind that this is applicable for early access version 0.624, and some of it might change as new patches come out. Let's start with navigation. There are signposts all around the map that you can interact with to unlock fast travel. Make sure to unlock this one by the mines and the one by the beach, since I feel like those two aren't that noticeable at first. Using the map, you will be able to see where all the romanceable NPCs are at. There would be an exclamation point if you have a quest in that area, a question mark if there's an NPC you haven't met yet there, or the icon of the NPC once you've met them. The icon on the NPC will also change into a heart shape if there's a pending heart event with them. Don't forget to make use of your skill tree here at the menu. You can earn skill points by increasing your relationship with romanceable NPCs. You can lessen the amount of stamina needed to use your tools, increase the chance of mutation for blob breeding, increase the amount of money you can get from selling items, etc. If you want to finish the first blob league right away, then be warned that after you do this, all blobs will be more powerful. You might want to use the weaker wild blobs to level up your team first before competing in the league. At the same time, the level of the blobs you will hatch from eggs will be higher, so if you already have a good team set up, you might want to save some of the eggs and hatch it later once you have defeated your first blob league. Don't stay up past 12 midnight, this will make your character pass out. The penalty for passing out used to be doubled stamina requirement for each tool usage, which was quite tough. Thankfully, this has been changed to just your stats not getting healed. However, you still have to watch out for wild blobs. Make sure to escape or not engage with wild blobs if your team is low on HP. If you lose a battle with a wild blob, the day immediately ends and you will get the penalty, which is not fun. Another tip is, if you do escape from a battle, make sure to quickly run away from the wild blobs since there is a chance that the battle will trigger again, and you might not be fast enough to escape the second time. I think eating meals at the restaurant or beer garden is a good idea since it refills the stats of you and your blobs. Plus, once you eat a meal for the first time, you will be able to learn its recipe. Food in this game also sells for a good amount of money, so it's helpful to know a lot of recipes. Take advantage of Ryan and his spinning wheel. Interact with him every day for a chance to get a food item or a kiwi blob egg. Right now, the seed packets don't say how long it will take for a crop or flower to grow. Generally, it's not a good idea to plant any crop on the last week of the month to avoid your crops wilting after the change of seasons. There are some crops that can grow in multiple seasons though, so make sure to check its label for that. At the start of the game, you will not have a house. Instead, you will be living in a tent until you ask chore to build you a house. Don't procrastinate building one since building a house will give you the blueprint for a furnace, which is used to smelt ores for upgrading your tools. Moreover, this will unlock the blueprint for a blob barn, which is needed for housing and breeding blobs. There are a lot of forageables that you can gather in-game in any season, which will be scattered in your farm and around the town. Most of it will not sell for a lot of gold, but it is very useful in feeding your blobs to refill their health and stamina, so don't skip out on gathering some. Don't forget to go behind Jade's family farm and gather apples from their apple tree and sunflowers or wheat depending on the season in this area. Some wheat can also be gathered in this part of the train station area. Lastly, make sure to gather oysters by the beach since this is something I usually forget. Some of the forageables or food can cure status effects inflicted to your blobs. For example, healing herbs cure poison, while oysters cure blindness. Make sure to pay attention to those so you can keep a lot of stock with you, especially when you are out on an expedition. As of making this video, the status effects inflicted on your blobs will not disappear even after a fight, so you really need to have cure for those. If you did forget to bring a cure, you can simply let that specific blob die in battle. If you win the battle, that blob will no longer have the status effect, and you can refill its health and stamina using regular food. Up next, I'm gonna talk about blobs. I can make a whole other video just for the blobs, so I will just include a brief overview in this video. But do let me know in the comment section if you want a more comprehensive guide for blobs. At the start of the game, you can choose between 3 blobs: magma, storm, or forest blob. I would recommend getting a magma blob here since it's quite hard to get in the beginning and it is strong against the blobs in the first blob world. I don't recommend getting the forest blob since it's really easy to get more of those as you play. Furthermore, you can get a storm blob for free in the mail if you've played the demo. There's a plan to change this free blob into a magma blob, but it's not yet implemented. If you did already end up with a forest blob and you want to complete all types, you can buy a storm sheep blob or a magma pig blob from Flint. Each one costs 3,500 coins though. You can get other blobs by purchasing them, getting them as prizes during festivals, or by getting an egg drop after battling a wild blob. You can also breed blobs in this game by giving an item called a heart fruit to 2 blobs in the same barn. This can be brought from Flint, or you can grow a heart tree yourself later in the game. After a few days, they will hatch an egg that has a random combination of skills, color, and appearance of the parent blobs. Take note that if there are 4 blobs inside the barn and you want a specific pairing, you have to feed 2 blobs first. Then, wait until the next day to feed the 2 other blobs. Otherwise, the pairing will be randomized. If you learned something new by now, please hit that like button and consider subscribing. Otherwise, keep watching for more tips. To increase the health bar of your blob, you have to satisfy their cravings, which can be seen by pressing shift next to the blob. The number on top of the item corresponds to how many days there are left until the blob will want another item. It also shows how many health points will be added once you have satisfied the craving. On a similar note, to increase their stamina or energy points, you have to play with their choice of toy indicated on the same UI. You can get these toys by purchasing it from Flint on his regular shop or by purchasing it during festivals. One thing I like to do when playing the minigame Toy Hammer is to simply cancel the game if I'm not successful on the first try. Otherwise, you'd have to wait for the bar to go up and down only for it to be unsuccessful. If you cancel the game, you can still ask the blob to play again until you are successful. Pay attention to your blob's passive or active abilities and make sure to explore them. Some blobs can help you out in the farm by tilling soil or watering your crops. Other helpful ones I've encountered are ultrasonic, which stuns bugs and insects for you so they don't fly away when you're trying to catch them. Tree growth, which speeds up the growth rate of trees. And Love Spell, which increases your relationship with an NPC. Next, let's talk about the Blob World. This will be unlocked after you have paid the fee to be a member of the Adventurers Guild. The Blob World can be tough, so make sure you are well prepared before entering it. Keep in mind that you can only enter the Blob World once per day, so make sure to bring enough food for you and your blobs before entering. Having a few pieces of food that can cure different status effects will also be very helpful. However, make sure to leave empty spaces in your backpack since you can get a lot of loot here. Don't forget to bring your return wand with you. If possible, just keep it in your inventory at all times. I have been stuck in the Blob World several times because I forgot to bring this item with me. I mostly passed out from battling blobs or get forced to bed for staying up past midnight. The only other way to go back would be to defeat the blob boss in that area, which can be quite a battle. There's one thing that I like to do to save food. If you know that your enemy is going to be killed by the next attack, and you're still prompted for another action for the rest of your blobs, you can choose the defend option, which refills some of your energy. To make the first blob world easier, I highly recommend you increase your relationship with Jasper. You can ask some NPCs who have a good relationship with you to go with you in your expedition. Jasper has a magma blob, which is strong against most enemies that can be found in the first blob world. Furthermore, this NPC also gives you a steam board after a certain friendship level, which will make you move a lot faster. Since we are on topic, let's discuss how to increase your relationship with the NPCs. Talk to each romanceable NPC every day. You can look for them using the map. If the map shows a little yellow heart icon, then it means that you have not talked to that NPC yet. Make sure to talk to them before and after a festival for more relationship points. Battling with them once a day will also improve your relationship regardless if you win or not. The next part is all about making money. I don't think I've found the best way to make money yet, so feel free to leave tips down below. Keep an eye on the item with a high demand by looking at your shipping bin. I usually sell my excess soil or ores if it's on high demand and I have extra, but I mostly hoard the building materials. Level up the skills related to making money on the skill tree we talked about earlier to further increase the profit. As I mentioned, you can get blob eggs from various sources, and through time you will accumulate some duplicates. You can sell this for 1,750 gold each, which is a lot of money. Don't neglect cooking. From my experiments, cooked items will sell more than the amount of the sales that can be made from its individual ingredients. Thus, I recommend investing in processing machines and recipes so you can cook a lot of meals. If there's an upcoming festival, pay extra attention to not pass out the day before so you'll have maximum energy in case it's needed for that festival. Save some extra cash as well so you can afford those special festival items. Lastly, play the festival minigame first before doing any shopping. Sometimes you can get the items as a reward if you do well in the minigame. Let me know which tip is the most helpful for you. If you want to watch some Ova Magica while playing, then check out this next video showcasing my first month in this game.